Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shifty's 49ers Talk. In this video, we're going to take a look back at the 49ers Week 6 loss to the Atlanta Falcons, lost by the score of 28-14. Incredibly disappointing. There is a lot to talk about in this video, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. The first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this loss is really the coaching. And this was surprising because we actually haven't seen this too much this year. We think the 49ers coaching is really excellent with Kyle Shanahan basically running the offense, DeMeco Ryans, who we all have pegged for a head coaching job next season, and I think he still should very much get one. But it did seem like the Falcons had actually outcoached the 49ers. They kept things very simple, very easy for Mariota, but also kept the 49ers off balance. That first drive by Atlanta, honestly, somewhat of a masterclass. They threw so many different looks. I think they knew that the 49ers are going to really struggle with mobile quarterbacks, especially having to start Diamador Lenore on the outside. Really hard to keep contained. We also saw with Sammy Womack unable to keep contained eventually on Marcus Mariota's run for a touchdown. But to me, it always seemed like the Falcons were one step ahead of the 49ers, and that's really something that you don't like to see, and it's something that we just rarely see when it comes to the 49ers. But credit to the Atlanta Falcons. They were incredibly prepared for this game. They looked great so far, and they're a team that really could be one to watch out for if they get a couple more players. Atlanta, good job by them. The next thing what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the offense, then we're going to focus on the defense. Well, the offense, honestly, a lot of things went wrong. In the first quarter, we're down 7-0. You're really hoping to get your defense a little bit of a rest. And then what happens? Well, Jeff Wilson Jr. coughs up the ball, return for a touchdown, and then just in the blink of an eye, you're down 14-0 on the road. You know, the guys are reeling a little bit with injuries, things of that nature, so really not ideal. But moving on from Jeff Wilson Jr., Jimmy Garoppolo, I actually thought he played okay. I'm not going to say he played great by any means. Had about 50 or 60 yards at the very end, which is just garbage time yards. He had 2 interceptions on the day. One of them was really not on him. It was just before halftime, essentially just throwing the ball up and it gets picked off. The other one, you could definitely put a lot more blame on him. Looking for Deebo Samuel, throws it high. Deebo can't really get there. Ball flips up, and then Atlanta comes away. And that was a key part of the game. At that moment, there was around 9 or 10 minutes left in the game. That interception, we were moving the ball pretty well. We were in Atlanta territory, and then bam, just like that, it almost meant the game was over. But beyond that, though, I thought Jimmy Garoppolo played pretty well. He was really not helped out by some of his receivers. Charlie Warner, big drop. That would have been a gain of about 30-35 yards. You could argue the Ray McCloud was more on Ray than Jimmy. Right into the second half, we're down 14-21, looking to tie it up. Jimmy throws it deep. Ray McCloud just can't come up with it. So as much as I will criticize Jimmy, and he did have some bad throws, this game was really not so much on him. But at the end of the day, here's the thing when it comes to the offense. We did not score any points in the second half. That is not good. I don't care whatever you want to blame it on, but the offense, no points in the second half, really disappointing. Also, we know the 49ers, what our game plan is to do is to run the ball effectively, then use play action off that, put us in good situations. In the game today, 16 rushes total for 50 yards rushing. Whenever you see a stat line like that with Jimmy about 300 yards passing, you typically 9 times out of 10 you can chalk that up to a 49ers loss. Because we weren't able to run the ball, we couldn't control the time of possession, couldn't control the clock. The Falcons had 7 more minutes of the ball than we did, and overall just really disappointing. I think in the first half, we were able to move the ball pretty well. We put up 14 points, and that's with a fumble on the first drive. But after that, nothing in the second half, and just a really disappointing performance overall by Kyle Shanahan's offense. Something very quickly that I do want to say with regards to the offense is the run blocking definitely not great by any means, but let's be a little bit positive when it comes to the pass blocking. No sacks today, and Garoppolo did a good job of getting the ball back early. But now let's move on to the defensive side of the ball, and there's definitely a lot to talk about here. With regards to the defense, it really just looked like they weren't prepared for this game well at all. Now, look, we know all the injuries. We're missing 3/4 of our secondary, we're missing 3/4 of our defensive line, missing one of our starting linebackers. And then, Charvarius Ward went out of the game really early, and that really hurt us. Overall, the defense just couldn't get off the field in critical situations. Something that to me was a major game-changing point was, I believe it was 14-21, 3rd and 13. We have them backed up, and then Mariota runs for 15 yards right up the middle. Just really, really one of those things where it seemed like a couple of things. The defense not playing disciplined, not playing with intensity, and really the tackling. I thought all game long, the tackling, the first guy never brought down the running back. It always took 2 or 3 guys, and they would get 3 or 4 yards, which then sets Atlanta up in great 2nd down and 3rd down situations. On the first Atlanta drive, they had about 3 or 4 third downs, all within 3rd and 3 or less, and they were able to pick them up, and eventually they scored a touchdown on the first drive. But honestly, I think something that worked really well for Atlanta against our defense, the read option. We really didn't have much of an answer for it. Mariota killed us, 6 rushes for 50 yards, but not only what he did with the read option, but even just handing it off or the RPOs really hurt the 49ers defense. It seemed like they were not prepared for that at all. And, to a certain degree, you can kind of expect that because you're missing more than half of your starting defense. So really just a bummer. Hopefully Charvarius Ward is okay because we are certainly going to need him next Sunday when we host the Kansas City Chiefs. But honestly, this was one of the first times in a long time, maybe ever, that I would say that D'Amico Ryans got outcoached. Arthur Smith and the offensive coaching staff there in Atlanta did a fantastic job being able to move the ball, running the ball. Look at these stats. The Falcons about 130 yards passing, over 160 yards rushing. Those are numbers we're used to seeing from the 49ers. So basically the Falcons did what we normally like to do. Control the clock, run the ball, don't turn the ball over, force turnovers. They did all of those things as well as playing at home. And just a recipe for disaster. The 49ers now move on to 3-3 on the season. Look, there's some winnable games coming up in the second half of the season. You got guys hopefully coming back from injury, but it's still going to be a tough road ahead. You think Kansas City next week, the Rams not looking too great the week after that. Then you finally get to the bye week, and you hope reinforcements come after that. But if there is a bright spot to take away, and there's a couple of them. Number 1, the pass blocking I thought was pretty darn good. Number 2, regardless of what happens anywhere else in any other games, the 49ers will be in the lead in the NFC West at the end of this week. And number 3, something that was a positive in my opinion, was the special teams. No blocked field goals. Ray McLeod had a really nice punt return, and Brandon Ayuk stepping up almost 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So those things you love to see. But all in all, a really disappointing game, and just one of those games where the 49ers have been incredibly resilient in the past, overcoming injuries, but it seems like it was just one too many injuries today, especially with Charvarius Ward. Defense lacked intensity, got outcoached, and all in all I can say is great job by Atlanta. They made the plays that needed to be made. The 49ers, we have a lot to fix this coming week if we don't want to get embarrassed by the Kansas City Chiefs. I will, of course, be doing a preview of that game later in the week. I do want to say a huge shout out, though, to everyone who stopped by the stream. It was really, really awesome to have such a great turnout, have a ton of support. Great to see everyone there. I just wish the outcome of the game could have matched the fun that we had in the stream. But hey, look, there's always next Sunday. And just remember, Niner fans, at one point last year, we were 3-5, and we made the NFC Championship game. So we can't stress out, we can't panic yet, and we will be number 1 at the NFC West. I guess it's something to hang our hats on, right? Even though it might be one of the worst divisions in football. But hey, it's better than nothing. But I want to thank you guys for stopping by the video. Like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps out the channel. It really means a lot. I love engaging with you guys. But I'm going to say 2 things right now. The butt counts. I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side.